Hello there, year two. It is Mr. Shepherd here, and I'm here for your second computing lesson as we move away from data that we were looking at last week, where you created some wonderful pictograms around houses, and we start looking at other ways and information we can find using the internet. So, the rest of this half term, we'll be looking at the internet. So, this is week four's lesson, and we're looking at what the internet is, what does it do, and why do we use it, to make sure that you are really clear on all the terminology and information to make sure that next week you can start using it really effectively. Now, at every point during this, if you want to pause, have a look in a bit more detail at what I'm talking about, or if you want to rewind me and listen again, that's absolutely super, because I'm talking through some information about what computing in the internet is, and then there'll be a quiz at the end that you need to go through to make sure that you've checked your understanding. So without further ado, let's get going, and I'm going to share my screen so you can have a look through what we're doing. Now, if at any point you are unsure and want us to talk through your learning with your teachers, that's absolutely fine as well. You can always chat to them in your live lessons about what we're up to. But the key words I want to make sure that you've got a really good understanding of today is the word internet. What is it? Where is it? What does it do? Search. What does search mean? How can we search using a search engine on the internet? Those three key things, which seem very simple at first thought, actually can be quite complex. So what is the internet is our first question we're going to be looking at. I'm just going to bring us back to my little PowerPoint here. Hopefully you can see Introduction to the Internet on your screen. So listen really carefully, because you've got a bit of a quiz at the end to go through yourselves. So first things first, what is the internet? Have a little think at home. Maybe ask a parent what they think, or ask a brother or sister, and have a think and answer, what do you think the internet is? What does it do? What is it for? Well, this is the answer. Okay, the internet is a global network of computers. It's millions of computers around the world, and they are all connected. Okay, every computer on the internet is connected by actual wires. That's Ethernet cables, phone lines, and fiber optic wiring. Now, of course, you can link into the internet using a wireless connection like Wi-Fi, which stands for a wireless connection. And that's what I'm using right now on my laptop, and you might be using it at home. You might not be actually having a physical wire connecting you to your to the internet. But there are actual wires underneath the ground or in the ocean that connect countries like America and Great Britain, Australia, India, all over the world. There are these huge underground wires that travel for miles and miles, connecting us through the internet. Now, what's the difference between the World Wide Web and the internet, you might be asking? Well, I can tell you. www, which we have at the beginning of our addresses, is the World Wide Web, and it's just one part of the internet. The internet also includes things like email, instant messaging, and multiplayer gaming. And when we talk about the internet, we often only think about the actual web itself. Now, we can use browsers to help us go through the World Wide Web, and a browser is how we access that part of the internet. I wonder now if you can think about the internet browser you are using right now to access the World Wide Web. What do you use at home? Can you think about what it is called? I'll give you just a moment to do that. Maybe you want to pause me and have a think to talk through with someone in your household. And let's have a look. These might be the ones you thought about. Google Chrome is what I use quite a lot of the time. Safari, which is used for Apple Macs. Firefox, which is another one you can use and download from home. And of course, Microsoft Edge, which if you have a Microsoft computer, will be the main one that you use when you are accessing the internet. Now, there are lots of different types of browser, and there are also lots of different types of websites, and it's important to understand what a website is and how it's different from a web page. The way I always remember it is that a website is a little bit like a book. Okay, so this could be the school website, this could be the Harrods Garrard Academy website, and it's a bit like a book. Now, inside that website, just like inside a book, there are pages. We call these web pages. So there might be a page on virtual learning. There might be a page on how to contact the school if you have any problems. And all those pages come to form one website. So a website is a collection of web pages that belong to one domain or owner. And a web page is a single document which you can then embed videos on, charts, images, or even text. Now, here's another example. Now, Too Simple are the company that make Purple Mash, and they have a website, again, their own book, and they have web pages on that book, including contacts, web pages and websites, and other links and images that can help us navigate and understand how to use the Too Simple website. So that could be one that you want to check out from home, or you might want to find your own websites and think about how they are like books and how they have included inside them web pages. Now, there are a couple other things I really want you to get today and make sure that you've got in your brains before you go in to do your quiz today to see if you can remember about the internet. The first one is what a web address is. So each of our web pages and web books has its own special address. So you can go from where you are and find it without any problems. The web address we often type into the top search bar at the top of our screens. And it's an identifying address for a file or web page on the internet. So if you type in that address, it will take you to that particular web page. Typing a web address into the browser bar or the address bar allows you to access this file on the internet. Another word for a web address is called a URL, okay? But you'll often call us talking about a web address. An example web address there is www. You've got our school website, www.harrisgarrard.org.uk. They all have slightly different addresses to make sure that you find the right one when you're looking for it. Now, you might go, oh, sir, but finding that exact Garrard address without remembering exactly what that exact address is, because if you get one bit wrong, you won't find the right page. And that's how we use a search engine. So a search engine will help you find that web page's address and send you to it should you be having problems. And there are lots of different search engines that we'll be looking at in a bit more detail. For example, Bing, Google, and Yahoo are some of the more popular ones that people use these days. But I remember when I was a child, there was one called Ask Jeeves, which is a little bit like a butler who will tell you about bits of information. Right, my lovelies. Now, if you want to go back through and listen to any of that again, make sure you've really got it in your brain, because I'm going to be sharing with you this particular quiz. This quiz is all about the information that I've just given you, and you might want to have a little look through and see if you can identify a look at the first one, which we'll have a look at together. So here we've got the question, fill in the missing word. The internet is a network of computers that are dancing together, purple together, connected together, all together, or switched on together. Now, the correct answer is connected together. You put in your answer, and then when you're happy with your answer, you click that you are done with that question, and then it will tell you if you are right or wrong, and you can move, thank you for cheers, onto your next question. Okay, so I want you now to have a little go through each of these quizzes and try and answer as many as you can. Once you're finished, hand in the quiz. At any point you're unsure of an answer, go back and ask me or have a look through my video, and it will tell you all of the fantastic job understanding what the internet is and what a search engine is for. And then next week we'll go into more detail about how we can use them. Bye-bye.